Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my YouTube video about New York Comic Con and the panel for Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie, which we all know now is coming out on November 24th. Woohoo! So we all know what we'll be doing together the day after Thanksgiving, right? So I can't wait to tell you about it. I'm so sorry this video is so late. I got sick on my way to JFK. And I have been fighting this nasty upper respiratory virus since then. I really have been in bed for the past 10 or 11 days. It's been awful. And as you can imagine, being a voiceover artist, not being able to control every nuance of my voice is really challenging. But, you know, I'm only human. We get sick. So I've got my handy dandy hot tea here just in case I have a coughing fit, which has been happening quite a bit with this stupid virus. But let's get on to the story, shall we? So New York Comic Con, a little bit different than San Diego, and that's the only other Comic Con I have to compare it to. This is the first year I have ever gone to Comic Cons, especially, working one. I did attend San Diego Comic Con, a panel that Craig Bartlett, our creator of Hey Arnold, was on last year, but I was literally there for a couple of hours, and all I did was go in and fight the crowd and see his panel, and then I got out of there. So it wasn't really the full experience. It was just sort of dipping my toe in. But this year I got the full experience. So most of our panel got in on Wednesday night before our Friday panel. I had already been in New York for 2.5 weeks prior because I actually got to New York quite a bit. I have a voiceover agency out there, and New York specializes more in commercials, especially face-to-face. A lot of our auditions in voiceover are done in our own home studios. I have one here in my house. But I like to go out to New York, and I like to audition in person. There are casting directors out there that I get to meet face-to-face, and I get to see some of my clients that I work for here in my home studio, but who are located in New York, and I get to see my friends, and it's just really fun and really challenging. And I am a person who likes to be challenged, especially in my career. I like feeling uncomfortable. I like growing and learning. So going out to New York for me is that kind of an experience. But I'm pretty familiar with it by now. So I'd already been there quite a bit. And then everybody else showed up. And we had 2 days of, I guess, festivities, if you want to call it that, versus the one day in San Diego. We had a packed day with panel, autograph signing, press, all that stuff in San Diego Comic Con. But for New York, we got to separate it into 2 days, which was very lovely. It was much easier on the whole body and all the energy and everything. So Thursday morning, the whole crew, the whole gang went to Viacom, and we got to do a few on-camera interviews about, the original days of the show, of the series, and now the movie. And I will post any of the interviews that I can find, and if you find some that I haven't posted on my Facebook page, then please share them with me. I prefer Facebook. I'm not a big Twitter fan. In fact, I'm thinking of getting rid of it. It's just not my thing. I don't connect with that way of communicating, but I love my Facebook page. So if you want to find me on Andy McAfee VO, that's my Facebook page, the name that I use. Anyway, so, I also have an Instagram. I love Instagram too. I like looking at pretty pictures. That's my thing. I love Instagram. Anyway, so Thursday we did a bunch of interviews all together, and then we got separated. No! Craig went off and did some stuff for the Splat, and then Lane went off and did some other interviews, and then the ladies went off and did an interview together. And that was what was different also this time than San Diego, was we had, in addition to our panel, we had Olivia Hack, who plays Rhonda, and the kids were not the new kids who play Gerald and Arnold. They weren't here on this trip with us. So we had a little bit of girl power going on. So we went off and did some of our interviews, which is really fun. It's just really fun to hang out with Francesca and Olivia and just spend the day, doing these interviews, reminiscing, just sort of riffing off each other, just like we used to when we recorded the series. It's that bonding and that friendship that we get to experience, and doing it all together all these years later. It's just, I can't believe how lucky I am. That's just the best way that I can describe it. So we did all of these interviews, and then we all had dinner together that night. And then I had a little bit of a kind of a problem. It's a little insider story. I had a hotel room that I couldn't sleep in the night before. Like when I got there Wednesday night, we were in the middle of Times Square, and as you all know, Times Square has neon, there's lights everywhere, it's very bright. And there was a blackout screen along the window in my room, but it didn't go all the way to the edges, and so this neon light was just pulsing through the sides of the window all night. And it's just so bright, you can feel it like it's the sun. So even if you have some sort of eye mask on, you could just feel the light, right? And then there was another weird sound going on in my room, and I am very sensitive to sound. I've been a voiceover artist since I was 8 years old. I can't help it, I hear everything. So there was this like electric sound going on, like all night, and it was driving me nuts, and I did not sleep very well, mostly because of the light thing though, right? So when we got back from all the press stuff on Thursday, I asked the receptionist if they would, or the, you know, whoever's working the front desk, if they would move me to a different room because the light was just bothering me so much. So I packed up all my stuff and I moved like just one floor down, like pretty much the same room with just one floor down. And in that room, the blind that blocks out all the light had some sort of metal casing on the edges, so there was no light that came in. So I was super excited. So I dropped off all my stuff and I went downstairs and I thanked the front desk staff for putting me in a different room because it was perfect, right? And I went off and I had dinner with everybody. And when I came back, I realized that I left my dress for the panel that I had painstakingly shopped for months. I left it in the closet in my other room that I had just vacated, and they had already checked somebody else into that room. And they were like, well, we can't invade their privacy. We can't go into their room. I lost my mind, guys. I was like, no, it's my panel dress. I took months to buy it. You go get my dress. I may have gone off the deep end slightly. And I think they got the message because they went and got my dress. So Friday was our panel day, and we got nice and early, and Olivia and I got ready together because we're girly like that. And we went to the Hammerstein Ballroom, which I guess is the first time they've done this at New York Comic Con. The ballroom is beautiful. But we had what's called a press block before we went on, which is when you sit at in an area that's designated like as a, they're like tables, and press comes to you, and you sort of rotate tables, and they ask you all kinds of questions. And so we did that, and we got kind of separated from each other. So we did that for a couple of hours. And then it was time to go on to the stage, right? And we were having the best time. It's just so much fun to be with your friends. And these are people I've known since we were so young, you know? We've sort of grown up together, and we've gone off our separate ways here and there, but like just to come back together and to be able to do this, it's a really special experience. So we went on stage, right? And this is also what was different about San Diego. Our room in San Diego held about 1,000 people, and the Hammerstein Ballroom held twice that amount. And it was full of people who were so excited to be there. The energy that we got from that room was incredible. And it was just our moderator, Keely, she's from BuzzFeed. She was amazing. You could tell how much she loves Hey Arnold, and we could feel it. And her questions were great. And it was like very much like a conversation up there on the stage. And we had so much fun. I wish I could find some footage. There's some out there that I've seen, but if you see any sort of, I don't know, pictures or video from our panel, please share it with me. You could put it down here in the comments if that works for you. So anyway, we did the panel and we had the best time, right? And after that, we went over to the Javits Center, and we had a few minutes where we had security, and he took us around just so we could see what the Comic-Con looked like. Because another thing that's different about New York versus San Diego is there are all these back alleyways. In San Diego, you have to walk through people in order to get to the panel rooms. But in the Javits Center, there's all these hidden walkways, so you don't ever see anyone. You don't ever see the floor if nobody takes you out there. So we got to see the floor. And then we did, excuse me, still sick. We did our autograph signing, and then we just Olivia and I hung out together after that, and Francesca, we went to a red carpet party, and we had the best time there. And then Olivia and I just stayed up a little bit later and just sort of talked about, what had happened, and had a little bit of pizza. And then the next day I got super sick and went home. So that was my Comic-Con experience. I cried a little bit when the trailer was shown because I hadn't seen it. and I'm just super excited. So please leave me your comments. Let's keep this momentum going, the excitement going, and I will catch up with you as soon as I can post another video. Bye.